We're back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC. This is going to be a very interesting segment because, well, I think we're going to be arguing over this next film. Yeah. It's called Spectre. It's the new James Bond film, and it's the I think it's the fourth James Bond film with Daniel Craig as James Bond. And it's basic James Bond story. You got James Bond. He's a 007 agent. He's trying to get the bad guy, but he's got several girls and fast cars and big explosions. And what more could you want? That's what I'm asking you. What more could you want?
A better actor, better plot,
Maybe
more explosions,
better storyline, I guess.
Okay, I mean, what was wrong with the storyline? It's a continuation of the three previous films. You had Casino Royale. You had Quantum of Solace, you had Skyfall, and it's all one story, kids.
The plot wasn't that bad. It could have been better, but I think that was the best part about it. Fighting scenes were good. I didn't like Daniel Craig's acting.
Did you like them in the three previous films?
Again, could have been better, but this one was the worst.
I mean, what do you want him to do, man? I mean, do you want him to be like, hey, I'm James Bond, everybody?
Well, for one, get something besides that same monotone voice he's had for the past 4 movies.
He's James Bond. He's got to have that cool kind of, hey.
But it wasn't cool. Right. It was, like, serious or boring all the time. I about fell asleep.
Really?
How could you fall asleep on all the explosions and car chases and shootings and...
5, 6 action scenes in a 2.5-hour movie?
You know what? I'm done with you. Let's move on to Kadam. Kadam, I know you're going to back me up on this. I know that you're a James Bond aficionado. I know that you're going to tell me you love this film.
In our reality, the actor that played James Bond, he was fine. That was actually the first movie of James Bond that I've seen him played in. So the blonde hair, blue eyes kind of threw me off a little bit. Same thing with Emily.
So you hadn't seen the previous 3?
Nope.
With Daniel Craig, okay.
I've not seen those last 3. One thing that Emily, my fiance, talked about a lot, after the movie was, a lot of explosions and everything like that about the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they die? I mean, there's one where the building just completely collapsed.
He comes out with a scar in his face.
Just comes out with a scar and maybe
because he had a secret hiding spot to get out of the place, man. I mean, if you were a villain, you would have a secret bunker to get out. Am I wrong with that?
I don't know. He had a scar in his eye. That's the only thing I could look at. But he made it into a perfect parking lot. And if you look closely, you see 2 cars just casually drive away like they got done grocery shopping. It's ridiculous. I'm like...
What do you want him to do? That's cool, man. That's bad. That is bad, man.
Some kind of like metal arm or something, like Jax of Mortal Kombat or something. Instead of just a scar over an eye.
All right, you guys had to appreciate the very, very first scene of the movie. The very first scene of the movie was, I believe, held in Mexico, and it was during the Parade of the Dead kind of festival thing they had going on. There was one single cut that went on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it followed James Bond from street level up like 10 flights of stairs. He's walking on 3 or 4 different buildings, and the camera never cuts away from him once. You guys have to appreciate that, right?
Yeah. I actually like that part.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, that's about the best part about the movie. Everything else was...
Everything else was... So...
Well, the fighting scenes were good when there was explosions, but didn't do it for me. I was actually disappointed with this movie. Every other James Bond movie I've liked, except this one.
How many... You're like 10 years old, right?
I'm like 16.
You're like 16. I was close. So
sure.
How many James Bond films have you seen?
About 6, 7.
7. So you've seen all the Daniel Craigs, right?
Yes.
What else have you seen? Pierce Brosnan, James Bonds?
I've seen a couple of them.
Have you seen any of the Sean Connerys?
No.
Roger Moore's?
No. The Pierce Brosnan one, I've seen 2 of those, I believe, and I liked it a lot.
Okay.
Silence.
Oh, man. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the different actors that were in here. Obviously, I think both of you guys will know because you guys are millennials. Batista was in this. Dave Batista, and he's a big wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was really excited that he had pretty much no dialogue. Like, if you ever watched WWE, and
Yeah.
when he wrestled, he was horrible at talking, so I was really ecstatic about that. But his fight scenes and everything like that, you knew that he was a big dude that was not going to go down.
Yeah.
But when he did go down, you guys have to watch the movie. It made me laugh hysterically.
Because he had his one line in there, right?
Yeah, just one word and just sucks him out, and that was it. It's like, yes, that's all you need, Batista. Just calm down.
All right, so our main bad guy villain was played by Christoph Waltz. Did you guys think he did a good job?
Yeah.
Was he creepy enough for you? Did he scare you? Were
No.
you scared for James Bond's life?
No, not at all.
Katem.
See, I had more of a Loki kind of feeling from him.
Okay.
Just the way he talked, it was very manipulative, and it was very creepy. But other than that, he was just a short guy with a scar on his eye. And that was it, you know.
Oh man, this movie was so awesome. I don't know what movie you guys were watching. I really don't. It's not the best movie in the Daniel Craig.
No, it's
Well,
not.
just let me talk, all right, man. You had your chance. You're done, all right. Daniel Craig has made 4 films. This is probably. It's not as bad as Quantum of Solace. All right, I'm going to say that right now. Quantum of Solace is his worst film. Then this one, and then you can give or take Skyfall and Casino Royale. You can interswitch those.
I like Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall was pretty awesome. But this film, it's a good film. It's your typical James Bond film. He kills the bad guy. He gets the ladies. He's got the cool cars. He's got the explosions. Now, come on a second. Let's talk about that big explosion you were making fun of, all right? You got James Bond and you got his girl, and they go up to their mark, and you see the beautiful villain layouts. I mean, it's just beautiful on the big screen, right? And they say their line, and all of a sudden you just hear explosions. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And you see what is the biggest explosion ever on cinematic history right there, and you guys didn't feel anything.
He came in with a scar.
I'm not talking about the bad guy. I'm talking about that shot, that scene. That was so visually awesome.
Visually, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good the way you look at it. But all I see is that scar just covering the whole screen. I just can't get over it. You know, the whole blowing up and everything was perfectly fine. You know, I hate to say this, but Emily's right. You know, if you watch,
of course she's right. What else are you going to say?
If you watch one James Bond movie, you pretty much watched them all. It's just maybe a little bit different story, maybe a few different villains, always a different chick, because James Bond's that kind of way.
Oh man, I feel bad for your generation. I really do, man. Wow. If you're listening right now to the Screen Team, don't pay attention to their reviews. Just listen to mine. The movie is incredibly good. Go see it a couple times, 2-3 times if you want. It's very, very good. It's got your action. It's got your typical James Bond coolness with it. And, go see it.
I mean, if you like that James Bond thing, go ahead, you know? Just close your eyes when you see the scar, and the whole movie would be great.
I think I know the answer to this, but apparently there's one more. Daniel Craig is under contract for one more James Bond. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but he's under contract. If he is, and they do make another James Bond with Daniel Craig, you go see it.
I'd go see it, yeah.
Get him?
I'd probably have to watch the previous ones first so I can get caught back up, and then I'll probably end up watching it.
All right.
So I'll give it a chance.
I'd want it just so we get some redemption for this film.
One more question. If Daniel Craig's not your James Bond, who would you want as James Bond?
Oh, that's a tough one because there are so many actors right now that could. I don't know if they would be able to play that part as well as some. Honestly, I like some of the older James Bond movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig just isn't that guy.
Okay, so what about like Colin Farrell?
No.
What about like Hugh Jackman?
I don't know about James Bond, but action movie wise, yeah.
I've got a name for you, and I want you to look this up on IMDb when you get done. Okay, Idris Elba.
No.
Idris
Who's
Elba.
That's the guy they're thinking about making the new James Bond.
And I'm 100% with it. Idris Elba. Look it up, kids. Idris Elba. Check it out on IMDb. You guys are looking at me like, who's he talking about? Just check it out on IMDb. Trust me. All right, guys. Great show. Dalton, we might have you on again in another couple years or so. We'll see after this whole James Bond fiasco. Kadam, we got a whole bunch of comic book movies coming up in 2016, so you're on board for those, right?
Yes.
We got like Deadpool and new X-Men movie and what is it? Captain America versus Iron Man.
Yeah, the Civil War kind of thing.
So it's going to be a good year for comic book movies, to tell you what. Oh, and the one that you're excited about is Suicide Squad.
Yes. I'm not a big fan of DC at all, but if you watch the trailer, it'll definitely give you goosebumps, especially Jared Leto.
Yeah, very true. All right, coming up next week, we have another full hour of the Screen Team. Our movies, at least for the first half hour, are chick flick movies. We're going to be doing Love Potion number 9 with Sandra Bullock, Sweet Home Alabama with Reese Witherspoon, and Practical Magic with Nicole Kidman. Second half hour of the film is movies that have to do with pregnancy. We'll have Keisha on the show, and Keisha is having a baby, so we're going to be talking about movies like Look Who's Talking, Knocked Up, and Father of the Bride 2. It's all coming your way next Saturday at 6 p.m. For Kadam, for Dalton, and Chris, we are the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC.